Hello, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Freedom Law School's Freedom Hour. I got for you now the second part in a three-part series about the gun-carrying IRS Special Agent with the IRS's Criminal Investigation Division who defected from the IRS back in 1999, exposed the fraud of the entire income tax system, and we covered as far as his background in part one, what led him to investigate all these issues, about income tax he heard, about Freedom Law School he heard, and he verified everything for himself, ended up confronting the IRS with a book about the income tax fraud, and ended up leaving the IRS, because the commissioner of the IRS did not want to talk about these issues, and he resigned. And he spoke at our first Freedom Rally back in 1999. So I'm going to bring back Joseph Banister now. Before we do that, if you're interested to learn more about all this, go to our website, freedomlawschool.org, and Joe Banister's website is agentfortruth.org. So without any more hesitation, let me bring you Joe Banister. Joe, thanks for being with me again.
Thanks, Peymon. Thanks for having me. It's actually agentfortruth.com, but you probably just misspoke there.
Yes, I did. Thanks for correcting me, Joe. So we, like I said, we talked last time when he resigned from the IRS because they did not respond to your request. IRS to review your book to show, if you're wrong about this, if the income tax system is a scam, legally on the fraud of American people, you conclude that the income tax cannot be mandatory for American people the way it's written, and they would not respond to you. They said just leave. If otherwise, whatever, they don't care about you or your opinion or your research, and so you ended up leaving. So after you spoke at our Freedom Rally, that was in March 1999. You came across Bob Schulz of We the People Foundation for Constitutional Education. Tell us about how you met him, then go from there to how you ended up, going to the debates he set up with the government, please.
Well, I think actually Bob discovered me. So what happened was, I left the IRS on my birthday in 1999, February 25th, same date in 1913 when the government claimed that they ratified the 16th Amendment. So a date I'll certainly never forget. But after I left, I didn't have any work, right? Because I had had that job for almost 5.5 years. Nice, secure government pay. And so I was working at various contract accounting jobs. And, ever since when I first resigned, immediately I was getting calls and emails. We are talking about 1999, so a lot of the social media didn't exist. And maybe was Facebook even around? I don't know. But anyway, archaic times back in 1999. And so it was probably an email or might have been a phone call from someone who knew someone that Bob Schulz had come across my story. And Bob, who was from, upstate New York, and he had a talk radio show in New York. I presume it was like, Manhattan, or we broadcasted through, throughout downtown New York and upstate New York. And he was all about keeping the government in check, making sure that they were obeying federal and state constitutions, which is certainly a great pursuit. And one or more listeners informed him that this IRS special agent had recently resigned and was talking about the income tax and all of the scam of the income tax and the manner in which it's enforced versus what the law, actually says on the books that Congress passed and the president has signed. And so Bob invited me on his show. And, well, Peymon, you probably know more than anyone since you met me even before I resigned. that I'm not exactly a media savvy guy, to say the least. And so anyway, I'm getting these calls from people, and they want me to be on their radio show or their podcast. They didn't have podcasts then, by telephone, whatever it might be. Mm-hmm. And I'm just kind of accepting invitations, right? I don't really know who these people are, what they're about. I just figure if I'm invited and they're interested in what happened to me, I'll come on. So I first came on Bob's radio show. Don't know how long, he had the show or whatever, but apparently my voice was broadcasted over the greater New York boroughs and into upstate New York one day, and it was probably like March or April, probably prior to April 15th for sure. And, so that's really how I met Bob, was just on the radio, and came to find out that he was very well known in New York for holding the government accountable. And he basically had an idea. Well, his show would ask the listeners, what should we do next? We found out this information. What should we do about it? Which, again, is a great posture to have. And so the idea that was cooked up was that there would be a symposium in Washington, D.C. at the National Press Club, which some may know is like literally right across the street from the Treasury building, and literally right from the White House. It's literally like a block away, as I recall. And so Bob, having media connections and all the experience that he had, I don't know if he was maybe in his 60s at the time. Now he's in his 80s. Anyway, so he set up this whole symposium, and like I said before, I'm just kind of going where I'm invited, and so Bob decided to have this symposium, and he invited not only myself, but some of the people that I referred to in my report that I had issued to the IRS. And you may even remember, because of various advertisements and your involvement so far back, was it called? I forget what the symposium was even called. Do you recall?
The first one did not have a name, but what I do remember, Joe, was that it was Bill Conklin was there, because he talked about the right to be silent. The Fifth Amendment protects our right to be silent, to give not any information to the government that they accuse against you. And we had Bill Benson was there talking about the 16th Amendment of the Constitution not being properly ratified. And you were the three of you were the main stars. D.V. Kidd spoke for a little bit also. But that was the big thing about it. But the way it got extra publicity was really the interesting thing about it. You ought to tell our listeners how it got more publicity you guys planned at a symposium.
Well, maybe it was just called like Symposium on the Income Tax. But anyway, what happened was, and I don't know whether Bob had anything to do with this or this is just typical, but C-SPAN, which, again, we're talking 1999 versus today. C-SPAN a lot of times was how people would get news about what was going on in D.C. And as I understand it, especially people in Congress, the staffers, the congressmen, congresswomen, the senators, would have C-SPAN going on in their offices and throughout the halls of the Capitol and the White House and everywhere. So in terms of a media organ that D.C. was dialed into, C-SPAN was definitely that. And so, however it came about, C-SPAN covered that July 1999 symposium. And so we learned, the group of us who spoke, and Bob as well. And, Bob, once Bob had me on his radio show, we became, I want to say close. We were geographically far away. I've never been to his house. I don't think he's ever been to mine. But he definitely, we kept in close contact because we had a similar goal to hold the federal government accountable regarding the income tax. And so I learned from him that the symposium being broadcast on C-SPAN was huge. I mean, like it literally got everyone's attention in D.C. or,
If I may interrupt you for a second, Joe, here's how I remember what happened then. What happened was that C-SPAN was supposed to cover something at this place, but those guys got canceled. And right next door to them, at the National Press Club, the symposium that Bob Schulz set up with you and others was scheduled. So C-SPAN staff figured that, well, this event we're going to cover got canceled, but there's another one right here. We can cover this one while we're at it on income tax. Oh, that's an interesting topic. What the heck? We're already here. And when they did that, that was seen widely, not just by D.C., but this was C-SPAN was a lot of people across America used to see it because it was cable news shows back at the time. You still had broadcast them with antennas in America. Cable news was big, so you'd have no internet. I mean, YouTube was very, very new at the time, so this got, in fact, and they sold, I remember, the video of it, 3.5 hours, they sold it for I think like $50, $60 of back then money. And that was the most sold recording of C-SPAN that they ever had. Anything that broadcast in America, people could buy the video of it to play at their home. But this was the most requested one they ever had in history. So yes, that was a huge thing. It was a luck. It was that the C-SPAN covered the symposium by accident, basically, yeah. But this was not the first time, though. By the way, that's available on our website and on Joe's website. It's available. We call it Illegality and Income Tax Exposed. It was done July 1999. But after that, though, tell us about the USA Today ads, how that ended up being on, several times on USA Today. Please, Joe.
I'm sorry, about the ads?
Yeah, because there was more symposiums that was done by Bob, and correct me if I'm wrong, he invited the IRS, he invited the Department of Injustice, his leadership, DOJ, he invited heads of Congress, someone from the president's office was contacted and writing, hey, come and send somebody, come on, debate Joe Banister. And he also, by that time, from IRS agent Sherry Jackson and John Turner had stepped forward, contacted, because of you, Bob Schulz, and they said, hey, we're former IRS agents and we agree with Joe. The income tax is a giant fraud, right? So now, instead of just Joe alone, he became the three amigos, the three of you together, And so that symposiums, additional ones in D.C., and how many times government showed up to these symposiums, Joe? Exactly. Zero. They never, ever showed up. In fact, I remember one time, correct me if I'm wrong, Joe, you were there at around the IRS's building with Bob Schulz. You guys were demonstrating in there. And the commissioner of IRS was seeing you guys from up there, but wouldn't come down, agree to debate you guys, or send somebody else. Is that correct?
Yes. There's a picture of Sherry, John, and I with Bob, and we're standing outside of the Treasury building because they wouldn't let us in. Mm-hmm. And inside was a press conference that was being held by the IRS commissioner. Mm-hmm. And David K. Johnston, formerly of the New York Times, who I'm not really the greatest fan of, but he posed the question, a bit mismatched, but he posed a question, which you probably have on your website too, and it's in America, Freedom to Fascism, where, as I recall, David K. Johnston asked the commissioner, there's a group of people outside. He was referring to us, Bob, Sherry, Joe, and John. There's a group of people outside who claim that we're not required to pay taxes. So, of course, right away, I don't like, he doesn't specify about income taxes, because that's a huge difference between just saying taxes generically and income taxes. But anyway, still glad that he asked the question. And he asked it of, what was that commissioner's name? Iverson?
Iverson, right. Mm-hmm.
So anyway, and again, maybe you can splice in or put a link when you have this archive of this interview.
Yes.
It's a great, I mean, it's like a once-in-a-lifetime question. Not quite the question I would have asked, but very good for a New York Times reporter. Mm-hmm. And also the commissioner's response. Mm-hmm. And of course, after being directly asked by a New York Times reporter, is there a law that requires us to pay taxes? Mm-hmm. And all that the commissioner can say is, well, I've been paying my taxes since I was, 12 years old and my paper route, I mean, and we need money for wars and welfare and, blah, blah, blah. But he couldn't point to a single law. And then maybe it was like a deputy commissioner, female lady, pushes him out of the way. Like, well, we don't want to have any more from the commissioner right now. So the leapfrogging, the building of effort, it just grew exponentially. Mm-hmm. And as I say, I mean, maybe Bob Schulz wouldn't have even known about me if you hadn't had me speak at your rally or didn't see a flyer or one of his listeners didn't. And I mean, literally, and this is a lesson that I always tell people who feel like they're not doing anything worthwhile for the good of the cause. DV Kid wasn't getting paid for any of her radio shows, hundreds that she did, maybe thousands. But there was an IRS special agent who just happened to be listening that one day in 1996 when she was on KSFO in the San Francisco Bay Area. And so who knows how many other times she was on shows, spoke, nobody really cared, or, nobody of consequence, or people who could be of consequence didn't do anything about it. Whatever. You keep trying. You keep taking a bite at the apple. And so in a similar way, you and I worked closely together in 1997, 98 before I even resigned. Continued to, you introduced me to other people who were skeptical, if I was sincere. And we just kept building. And so, the interview or that question from Johnston to the commissioner probably wouldn't have happened without the We the People effort. But the We the People effort wouldn't have happened without the Bob Schulz interview of Joe Banister. And then that wouldn't have happened if, there wasn't a March Freedom Law School rally. So, I mean, we need to keep trying and keep being sincere, keep being good examples. And, ultimately it's going to be God's timetable, whether, when we get delivered from the income tax. But all we can do is do our best, tell the truth. And anyway, that's what was going on with Bob Schulz and the We the People Foundation. He interspersed with these symposiums. One, as you say, happened in July of 1999. I think another one was in November of 1999. And there were 3 or 4 USA Today ads. Bob, as he always did, he said, well, what do we do next? We have our July symposium and the government doesn't show up even though they're invited. And we have our November symposium and the government's invited. We're literally right across the street. They can just walk across the street and have a talk with us. No government shows up. And believe me, Bob had invited them officially. So at one point, he's like, well, what else do we do? And so the idea came up that we create full-page, like centerfold ads in the USA Today. And again, for those people who were born, after 2000 or in the late 90s, a lot of us had to rely on newspapers for our news. And so, and the USA Today was delivered to millions of hotel rooms. That was the way that they would, filter their controlled news to millions of people traveling. And so the idea was hatched, well, why don't we put full-page ads in the USA Today so that when people open up their paper in the morning and they're sipping their coffee and they're like, what's this? The income tax is a scam? Where else would they ever hear that or see that? in 1999 and 2000. So the ads were very effective. In fact, I think they were so effective that by the time Bob wanted to run an additional ad, the USA Today refused to accept his money and run the ad.
Yes, after the fourth ad, because they're each, I think 50,000 each, if I remember, or 25,000. I think 40,000 each. It was Mike Bodine's idea. He's Bob's assistant. So let's try that, see how that works. And Mike Bodine gave that was a lot of money back then. And to him, it was a lot of his own personal money, funded it, the first one. And so after the first one, they came out in 2000. Then there was 3 more done in early 2001. And then after that, then the USA Today told Bob Schulz, no more ads for you. We don't want your money. Obviously, they were contacted by the IRS and saying, you're giving these bad guys exposure, publicity. Let's cancel their way of reaching the American people. And I'm going to show people right here, guys. This is the very first one of the USA Today ads that came out in 99. And but what was most interesting, I remember, Joe, in this one, is that Bob put in here the part in green. You cannot read very well, but I'll read it for you. That citizens cannot voluntarily file a federal income tax return without surrendering their Fifth Amendment right to not to bear witness against themselves. But here's the most interesting part. Okay. On June 2nd, the White House reneged on their promises it made during the April 13th meeting. As with 3 previous conferences, the government has again refused to debate the grievances. And Jason Furman of the White House, he was the senior economic advisor of the National Economic Council, okay? He told Bob Schulz, the legality of the income tax is not a high priority item at the White House, and we will not participate in any commerce on the subject. End of quote. So I saw that in the answer. I thought, whoa, they're open about it. They don't care if they get your money but fall on the Constitution and laws. To the federal government, we, the American people, you are simply a dumb, stupid sheep for them to shear. Make you afraid of them? Stand in line? We'll shear you of your wool. You need to stay warm? No. The government will take your money. We damn the laws of the Constitution. They don't care to discuss the legality of income tax. And obviously, this mafia does not want to participate in any conference on the subject. Well, why would they? Why would any criminal or mobster want to have a debate about the criminality and the acts of criminality they've done? They don't want to give exposure to it. They want to cover it up. So that's the thing that really got my attention, Joe. I remember about that. And I remember, Joe, that around this time, Joe, Bob told me one time he had 120,000 people on his email list. Back then, people, remember, there was no social media. It was maybe MySpace was just getting started. There was no Facebook. So that was pretty big. 120,000 people were interested, opted in to get emails. And faxes more than that as well. And those got forwarded to other people. You know, those emails and faxes. So this was a movement really going big. And when USA Today said, no more ads for you, then Bob Schulz put an ad in the New York Times. And he did that, or American Free Press. And then he also, Joe, if you remember, he had us all travel from across America with Remonstrance, which is like a complaint to government, to follow the Constitution on income tax, and declaring war by Congress, not the president, stuff like that. And we all drove, myself and you, from California, many others drove to go serve our Congress members about the government must follow the U.S. Constitution and laws. And we served our congressman in person as much as we could. I was lucky enough to be one of the, I think maybe just a few people who actually got to meet my congressman, okay? And his name was Lewis, in person. I think his wife liked me. She just let me in because I was the president of Freedom Law School. She thought I was a young law school president like Harvard. You know, she didn't know. It's a home-based law school. She let me in, talked to him, and I talked to him about this stuff, but typical rhino political hack. You know, I could tell he had not interest in this stuff at all. And so we did all that stuff together back in those days. But maybe you could tell our audience a little bit more. The last symposium that we did with Larry B. Kraft and John Turner, and a couple other people. Tell everybody about that symposium, please, Joe.
Sure. Well, that was the Truth in Taxation hearing.
Yes.
And what happened was, we could go on and on, couldn't we, about all the efforts that we made, significant efforts. But Bob Schulz decided that he was going to do a hunger fast and stop eating and patrol the halls of Congress until he could get someone to agree to hear our petitions, our grievances about the income tax. You know, here, look at our evidence showing that we're being lied to about the income tax. And so finally, Roscoe Bartlett, who was a congressman from Maryland, noticed that Bob had a Constitution in his pocket, which Bob always carried. And it turns out that Roscoe Bartlett also always carried a Constitution in his pocket. And so they began chatting, and Bob was able to secure Roscoe Bartlett's cooperation in scheduling a hearing, like an actual official congressional hearing. And so, of course, in the past, as we discussed earlier in your show, government never showed up. But maybe if we can get a congressman involved, we can get them to show up. So they actually had a meeting. Bob Schulz, Roscoe Bartlett, the House Rep, and Dan Bryant, who was in the DOJ, high up in the DOJ at the time. And apparently there might have been an IRS official too, I don't recall, but they actually signed a letter, on Roscoe Bartlett's letterhead, the DOJ, that they would supply DOJ officials to attend this congressional hearing on the income tax. And as I was told, the IRS agreed to supply people, but the IRS wouldn't put it in writing, if you can believe the irony. So it was like, I think, in the summer of 2001.
Yes, correct.
And the hearing was supposed to occur like in September or October, and September 11th happened. The Twin Towers attacks, the Pentagon, and all of a sudden they had a great excuse to say, "Oh, we can't have the hearing anymore," because the country's, basically everybody has to batten down the hatches. We're in a war. We can't be dealing with these domestic issues, and they decided that we're not bringing our people. The DOJ backed out, IRS backed out, and Roscoe Bartlett backed out. And so for all those efforts to get a hearing, Congress, our congressperson, Roscoe Bartlett, refused to continue to help us. Mm-hmm. So Bob, to his credit, said, well, that's not going to stop us. We may not be able to hold the hearing officially within the halls of Congress, but we're going to have one anyway.
Before we go on to that, Joe, let me just add a little bit, if I may, that Bob decided to have a hunger fast to death. I mean, literally. And he had, I think 40 days plus of hunger fast before Congressman Bartlett said, hey, listen, I'll help out with this thing. But September 11, 9/11 was the excuse for the government to say, we don't want to do this thing now. We got to deal with terrorists out there. All this other stuff inside, which put him off later on, which many people feel today. The Epstein file, scandal, which was, has been showing up and getting worse and worse and worse. Many people feel that's what's going on with the war against Iran. Okay, now Epstein file, openness takes a back seat to we have a war going on with this terrorist nation. The government says we have to go bomb them to pieces. So this was the same kind of a thing, looks like they did, Joe, here in this situation. So they got out of it that way. But tell us about the symposium you were after that, huh?
So we did end up scheduling it anyway, and all of the witnesses, we were all preparing for a congressional hearing, so designating witnesses and gathering evidence. So we were already doing that anyway. And so Bob had to, reserve a hotel, I forget, somewhere in D.C. or Virginia, right in the belly of the beast, and reserve a whole conference room and, a huge symposium, not only for the participants, but all of the audience to see live. And so, it was really impressive when you consider, 25 years ago, the kind of technology that was available. But as far as I recall, it was live streamed. Of course, there was a recording made of the entire proceeding. And one by one, witnesses were brought forward with evidence. And so people like myself, former IRS Revenue Officer John Turner, former IRS Revenue Agent Sherry Jackson. I don't know if you recall Paul Chappell. Mm-hmm. He was a Treasury lawyer back in the 50s when they revised the 39 Internal Revenue Code to become the 1954 Internal Revenue Code. And Paul Chappell got in touch with me, one of dozens of attorneys, by the way, over the years that not only had learned the truth, but were willing to speak about it. But Paul, I thought, was one of the most extraordinary attorneys because he literally worked for the Treasury Department. He was part of the process of upgrading the 1939 Internal Revenue Code to the 1954 code. And yet he was calling me saying, bravo, the income tax is a scam. It's the vast majority of Americans aren't required to pay it. So I was just gobsmacked, and I think he was in his 80s back in the early 2000s, right? I mean, he's very elderly. He actually was blind by that point. He had lost his eyesight, but he was still practicing law, even with his minimal to non-existent sight. And Paul Chappell was also one of the people that testified. So, again, maybe you're really good at gathering footage. Maybe you've got some or all of that footage. I know Bob Schulz does. I've rewatched some of it, even in the last few months. And it's just fascinating how much evidence was put together and discussed and testified to. And then, but the one party that never showed up, despite multiple attempts and going into their backyard, right, to get them to come to the table was the government.
Yep.
They just absolutely refused over and over and over again, despite official invitations, despite us bending over backwards to accommodate them. And it's more than suspicious, obviously. They don't want to debate because the debate will show that they've been lying to the American people for over 100 years.
So, Joe, I think we're about to wrap up this part 2 because the part 3, the last part, is going to be the most interesting part you don't want to miss. And that is when the IRS and the Department of Injustice were sick and tired of Joe Banister going out there exposing a fraud to the American people. So they decided, you know what, we got to put this guy out. So they decided to try to put Joe in prison, okay, for which I'll tell you they failed. But how they failed is going to be the next part 3 of this interview we'll have. We'll have it sometime in early April. okay, with Joe Banister. So if you have not seen part 1, go see it. The link is below. The video is mentioned you heard here. We're going to put the links to them and the ones that we have in this description below. They're going to also be put on Joe Banister's website pretty soon. We're going to put it on there as well. So, Joe, you want to give me your website one more time, please, for people to check out?
Sure, thank you. Agent for Truth, that's FOR, agentfortruth.com.
Yep. So, there it is, people. You know, the government has not been working for you for a long time. You've been working for them. Okay? It's the other way around. That's how the Founding Fathers didn't want it to be the way it is today. And it's to change, if it's to be a different outcome, to be the way it was under the Founding Fathers, that should be today. It's up to you and me. And if not now, when? When will we as Americans take action and stop this fraud on American people, our families, pays for all this corruption, this wars? This war with Iran could end up being World War III. The Epstein blackmail cover-up for Israel that's being covered up right now, because that's why they want to shut it down. You'll expose that we have an occupied government. That's right. Epstein was not Chinese, was not Russian, was not from Egypt, or France. He was a Zionist Jew in cahoots with Mossad, okay, and doing a blackmail operation. That's why this war is going on right now. Okay, on behalf of a country, we have no formal alliance like we have with NATO countries like England and Germany and France, because they bought our government, our politicians. We're going to get it back with our money, your money, not going to our enemies, not going to enemies of the American people, but you keep it, support truth-telling freedom media out there, and elect people that represent the American people and the Constitution, like former Congressman Ron Paul, the current Congressman Thomas Massey. We can do it if we stop giving billions of our money to the enemies, take it back for ourselves, our families, and elect people, fund election people that represent you and me, the American people. So go to freedomlawschool.org to take action, to do something about this now. freedomlawschool.org. On a drive to and for work and shopping, play our videos. You'll know it all in a matter of just a few weeks at most. Joe Banister's website. Go there, listen, watch his interviews. Okay. So, Joe, do you have any last comments you want to say to our audience before we close this interview until the next one?
Just kind of mentioned it before, but just be a good example to everyone. So let's all stay calm. Let's make sure that when we discuss this issue, people go, "Wow, that guy makes a lot of sense," or "That gal makes a lot of sense." We'll just have to be patient, but keep working at it. We've made tremendous progress over the last, decades and decades, long before you and I came on board, right? But we just keep chipping away at it, and we will eventually, establish honorable or honest taxation, at least constitutional taxation. That'd be a good start. So thanks to everyone, and God bless everyone.
Thank you for being with us, Joe. I appreciate you.
Thank you.
All right, my brothers and sisters, I'm going to end this thing for tonight, and I invite you to know that you were meant to live free. Otherwise, you would not have come across this broadcast. So now, it is up to you to take the next step and educate yourself and de-brainwash yourself of the lies of the past that, the safe thing to do is to file income tax anyways, because otherwise they'll get you if you don't file. I'm afraid. That's all lies. 80 million plus non-filers out there. Yes, 80 million plus, folks. Don't be afraid. Stop putting the rope around your neck. Stop giving it to the IRS for that 1040 form. That's what gets you. Do not file that 1040 form unless you're from a citizen or residents of Washington, D.C. They're the only people by law required to file and pay federal income taxes. The people of the 50 states, like you and me, were never meant to pay. We've been duped and tricked and then coerced through mental games to become slaves. So with that, I give you all my love, and I wish you all the very best to be free as individuals, as families, and working together. We can have America be free again. We can restore freedom. We have a Restore Freedom plan also. Check it out on our website, freedomlawschool.org. Thank you. Okay, we're going to go to the people with questions. You can ask questions of me or Joe. Just announce when you ask your question. If you want to ask a question of me, can they take calls from Joe or no? Oh, yes. Oh, Joe, maybe Joe, maybe you can call in perhaps. No? Okay, all right. But announce if you have a question of me or Joe. We hope Joe may be available. Okay? So the number to call, we're going to put it on the screen. By the way, our phone number is 813-444-4800, our regular office number. Call us. If you have questions, call us. We'll answer the phones for you. Okay? And to ask a question now, call 424-552-1299, and then press 1 on your keypad. 424-552-1299, and press 1 on your telephone keypad. Right now, we have a call from area code 502. You're live, my friend, from 502 area code caller. Give me your first name, how you heard about Freedom Law School, and then your question, please.
Yes, sir. David, found you on the internet, and I found a page on your site about how to win an IRS summons, and it directs me to contact Freedom Law School for a referral to competent and experienced legal counsel. That's actually what I'm asking for. I've emailed support, and they told me to call.
I can barely hear you. Get close to the microphone, please. Get close to the microphone, Dave. Go ahead. Continue, please.
Yes, sir. Can you hear me now?
Much better, yes. I could strain to hear you. So you saw the article about how to beat an IRS summons every time on our website. Good job. And what was your question about, you said, David?
It just says contact Freedom Law School for a referral to competent and experienced counsel. So I'm need to file suit, and I emailed support, to ask them for the referral, and they said to call in and ask you about it.
Okay. Let me ask you some questions right now. Are there something you or a third party like a bank, and the years that they're asking about? Did you file 1040 income tax confession forms with the IRS or not?
Yeah, I did, because this is about filing years where I had filed the 1040s before I found out about your system of not filing. But my filing is based on the same principles that we're discussing here. The fact that I'm not technically required to pay the tax, and so I filed a zeroed out corrected form, and that's what I'm in a dispute about. So I haven't been following your system, unfortunately, but it's the same principle, and that's why I'm hoping an attorney that you're affiliated with would be able to help me, because they would understand the principles involved.
Did you do the Pete Hendrickson, the zero return? Is that what happened?
I'm sorry?
Whose method did you follow and follow zero returns that got you here? Pete Hendrickson?
No, the gentleman that taught me the system, I don't know that he has a presence on the internet. He calls it sacred income, but it's basically it's very similar to your system, except it's filing a zeroed out return instead of not filing.
Okay, all right. First, let me clarify the difference. They're talking about income tax being a fraud on American people. We agree on that. We belong to the right church. Okay, but I don't know this guy, so I don't know exactly what he teaches. And there is a reason why I don't do zero returns or don't recommend them, because of cases like yours. People want to get that withholding money back that the employer withheld from your paycheck. Sometimes it works.
Right.
And advertise the cases that does work. Hey, look at this guy got a refund, $10,000, $50,000. But then again, the cases that do not work, like yours, they don't advertise that. They don't tell you that. Sometimes they do not work. Instead, the IRS may come after you for some of your bank records. Come after you for, additional tax and penalties. And I imagine you got no refund, number one, from your zero return, and instead the IRS is summoning your bank records, correct?
No, they just sent me a letter 105C that they're denying my claim, but the letter says that I can file suit. So that's what I'm looking for, is an attorney to help me file suit in accordance with the principles that you teach at Freedom Law School, which are the same principles that my filing is based on.
Okay. How much are you trying to get back? How much was withheld from your paycheck?
Total over multiple returns is probably $130,000.
For what years?
2020, 2023, 2024, and probably going to be 2025 too.
20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 4 years?
3 years total so far right now.
20, 23, what other year?
2020, 2023, and 2024 are the ones where I'm interested in filing a suit with the IRS immediately to get the refunds back.
Okay. Now, that's a separate thing from the IRS summons situation. Totally different things.
Exactly.
The summons is they want to get your bank records probably to use against you to try to come up with tax claims or assessments against you. Okay. Refund lawsuit that you want to do is a separate thing. Let's address them separate individually, okay? So,
right, and
are you a wage earner all these years or not?
You
David?
could still.
That's the key. But let me ask you:
I'm sorry.
Are you a wage earner all these years, or were you self-employed in these years, 20, 23, 24?
Oh, W-2 wage income for all the years.
Okay. All right. Here's the problem you got. Okay. Attorneys do not know this stuff like I do, unfortunately, because they don't teach them this stuff in law school. In law school, attorneys are told to read court cases about this aspect of the Constitution, this part of the Constitution, or other court cases, and then debate it and learn from it. They're not taught hardly anything about income tax at all, if anything. So, but I'm not an attorney to represent you, so I got to refer you to an attorney if you want to get that kind of help. And the problem is these attorneys do not believe in what you do. The few that do believe in you, and I know them, they would not want to do this either. Because they'll know the courts are corrupt, and you're very likely going to lose. Even if I were to do it, the courts are corrupt. You were, like most of us, like me, you are naive to believe we have a government that they really follow the law explicitly. But there exists, David, judicial conspiracy to protect and preserve the federal income tax and the Federal Reserve money system fraud. No judge in America, I believe, will say, maybe a very rare one in 1,000 maybe, would say, hey, income tax is a fraud. The Federal Reserve system is a fraud on American people. So you're unlikely to be able to get your money back, even if you were to spend maybe $50,000 or more. Try and get your money back. Attorneys are not cheap. Typical rate for an attorney is about $300 to $1,000 an hour for 1 hour of work. 8 day, 1 day's worth of an attorney?
Sure.
So you're not going to find anybody to do that. About the summons thing, I can help you with that summons situation if you become a Restore Freedom Plan member. But here's the problem. The problem is, what for? What would you accomplish in your particular case if they get your bank records? You said you're a wage earner. They know how much you make from the W-2 that your employer sent to the IRS. They're going to get your bank records. What would it show? these dummies at the IRS are suspecting you may have millions of unreported self-employment income or some sort you didn't report or mention in your request for a refund on your zero return type of thing you did. That's what they're thinking, these idiots at the IRS. But at the end, they're going to get nothing more that they know your job paid you so much a year on your W-2 form. They report to the IRS, and that's it. Why would you spend any money? Stop the IRS wasting their money, wasting their resources. Okay? If you want to pay some lawyer, you can do that. But why? It will not accomplish anything for you. Okay? And a refund claim also, like I said, they're not going to get that money back. Bottom line, the best you can do is go from here forward, Dave. Stop income tax withholding from your paycheck now. So you don't have to file a zero return to get the money back. Stop the stealing in the first place, rather than later going to a thief and say, hey, here's a form I filled out. Give my money you stole back. Of course, you do that by deceiving my employer to steal out of my paycheck. But nonetheless, it's the same result. So if I was you, I would just go on from here. Let that go. Why spend tens of thousands of dollars when you're 99% going to waste it and you're not going to win anyways? Okay? Does that help you understand your situation better? What you want to do, if anything, join a Restore Freedom plan, stop filing income taxes so you can be 100% protected, or on your own. On our websites for free. freedomlawschool.org. Stop income tax withholding, no more 1040 filing, and 99+%, you'll be left alone from here forward. But the back stuff, sorry to say, best thing you can do is let it go. This guy charged you money based upon greed. I know you want your money. You work hard for it. It's your money. It belongs to you. The $130,000. You deserve it back. I agree with you 100%. But, as you noticed, they did not give you money back. Instead, they're harassing you. See, he didn't tell you that. So, it is what it is. The best thing you can do is just move on from here, my friend. Any other questions?
So you're telling me you know zero attorneys that are familiar with your teachings that you could refer me to, despite your website referring me to you for a referral?
I never said that. I said, I know attorneys that know what I do, teach, and work with me. But I'm going to tell you, even with them, the judges are corrupt and we're not going to give you money back. Do you hear me on that point? The judges
Don't you think it would benefit them to still have the opportunity to take my money?
No, because those guys are very busy.
I'm literally just looking for a name and the address of an attorney that understands what you teach. That's all I'm looking for.
If you want to know attorney that is what I teach, I give you a number of Larry Kraft. I give you a number of Peter Gibbons. Okay, they understand what I teach. But on your situation, they'll tell you the same thing I say, basically. You want to pay them hourly to hear the same thing? You can do that. Okay? Call my office, ask for the number of Peter Gibbons and Larry Kraft. They'll give it to you. Peymon said, I can get it from you, call, they'll give it to you. But what you're doing
is Peter Gibbons, and what was the second number?
Larry
Kraft?
B. Kraft. B-E-C-R-A-F-T. If you want to do that, go ahead.
Thank you very much, sir.
But I'm telling you, David, here's the thing. I know you have your eye and mind set on this thing, but I'm suggesting you to be open to learning from me. Otherwise, waste all this money on at best, waste money, find out it's not going to go nowhere. You got to stop the income tax withholding from your paycheck.
I totally
first.
hear what you're saying.
Yeah, do that first, and then
understand what you're saying.
And then no more have to file these forms. That's the biggest thing, because for the rest of your life, decades, you'll be free. Focus on that. Okay? The $130,000, I'm sorry. I wish there was a way I could tell you to get the money back, or attorneys want to get it back, but I don't want to deceive you or lie to you. And like the last guy, tell you what you want to hear versus the truth. You want to hear that I can get you somebody or myself that will get your money back. But it's not going to work realistically. Otherwise, I would have done the same myself all the time. People call me all the time from people who've done the zero type returns like you, get the money back. They don't work sometimes. Sometimes they do. Okay? So, anyhow, I wish you the very best day. Thank you for calling, my friend, okay?
Thank you very much.
My pleasure, David. All right, we have a call from area code 510 and another one from area code 951. 510 area code caller. Please give me your first name. I heard about Freedom Law School, and then your question, please.
My name is Julie, and my question is...
Julie, hold on. Get close to the microphone. I can barely hear you, number one. Number two, how did you hear about Freedom Law School? And then your question.
I found it on some email. I don't know. I probably it was either on YouTube or some Truth or News email thing that I belong to.
Okay. No problem. How can I help you?
Yeah, I don't remember.
That's okay.
Well, I want to sign up with you, and I'm putting some money in an envelope, and I'm going to mail it for a consultation for a half hour with the law school expert. But the thing is, as I understand it, and correct me if I'm wrong, do you need me to mail to you my tax preparation documents before you can begin?
Anything that's related to the situation you got, send that to me.
Well, okay, but here's the problem. I have a tax accountant, and they're all the tax people that I know today in my area, they're all automated. So it's very difficult to get them not to e-file. And they set it up from the very beginning to e-file. And I don't want that to happen because then I'm going to be in trouble. So I'm looking to see if you can refer me to a tax preparation person who won't e-file for me.
Okay. Did you call my office about that?
I'm sorry, what?
Did you call my office for referral to an accountant that will not do e-file? That will give you the paper return.
Did I call the office?
Okay.
You mean the Freedom Law School office?
Yes.
No, I don't know what their number is. I just have this number.
Our number is 813-444-4800. 813-444-4800. Call, okay? And we have a account, I don't know, Michael, okay? Ask for Michael's phone number, they'll give it to you. If they're not, have them ask me, I'll tell them who it is. Because I think you want that to do your state tax return. Is that correct? If I remember, someone like you called in recently about this kind of issue, right?
Yeah,
that was you.
Yeah,
Just saying.
I just need somebody to work with me to get my taxes ready so I can give them to you guys and not send them to the IRS because I want to work with you guys.
Okay, gotcha. What do you for a living, Julie?
Is that the way I should? Well, I'm semi-retired. I would say I'm 99% retired. But but I do have like a very small income from coaching clients. I'm self-employed. I do coach clients. I coach people.
How much is your income approximately? Between 50 to 100,000, 100 to 200,000, 500,000 to a million. Roughly, what neighborhood is it about?
No. My income last year was probably about $10,000, and then if you add my Social Security, that would be $40,000 altogether.
Okay. Listen, you make so little. You don't need to do all that stuff.
Wait, I know.
For $10,000 of income, pay an accountant, you don't need that, hon. Just put on the application you made $10,000 from your own business and $40,000 from Social Security on a calculator and see what your membership will be. Very simple. You don't have to go through all that expense. Okay? I'll do it for you right now.
Well, wait.
Yes.
Wait. There's one other piece of information.
Yes.
I just sold my house, and the revenue was 1,700,000, and I think they sent that. The mortgage company sent that to the government. I think.
Yes.
So, is there anything we can do about? So I owe $250,000 in capital gains tax.
Who told you that? You owe $250,000 in capital gains tax.
Well, I called my tax person before I sold the house to calculate what I would owe, and that's what we figured out.
Okay. Tell him to print this, whatever it is you got, the calculations, does not have to be the form. Just send the calculations to you by email or mail. It does not have to be the form. We will accept his calculations, and based upon that, we can do your membership application. That's not a problem. You don't have to fill out the IRS 1040 form. Okay?
I do have to.
Get from your accountant the calculation of how from $1.7 million sale of the house that you owe $250,000 to the bank. How did it come up with that you owe the IRS $250,000? Just have him give you the calculations. Does it not have to be in a 1040 form at all? Okay?
Oh, okay. I don't think they'll put that in writing, though.
I'll tell you what. Julie, I got your number. I'll have somebody call you tomorrow. Yeah. I'll make sure myself and Coach should help you through this process. How to do it right that works for you and your accountant. Okay. Sorry about they didn't get to me. I've been very busy, very, very busy. So that's why I didn't get to this thing, okay? Because I heard about your case, but I didn't get to really pay attention to it. I've been very, very busy. But I'll take care of it by talking to them. And I got your number, okay? And you can call also.
Okay.
Tell them you talked to me.
You.
If they don't give it to somebody else, one of my managers, we'll take care of you on this, Julie. Sorry about the lack of communication with you about your situation.
Oh, no problem. You're not remiss at all. I'm just very grateful to meet you.
It is my pleasure to meet you as well.
Thank you very much for all the good work you're doing.
You're welcome. Julie, let me ask you, your phone number 510 is from Oakland, California. Is that where you still live there? Or where do you live now?
Yes, I live in Berkeley, California.
When do you plan to leave that communist Republic of California, Berkeley.
Oh, my God. As soon as I find somewhere to go. I can't stand it here. Every day I think I've got to get out of here, but I don't know where to go.
Of course, Florida is the answer.
To Mount Shasta.
Just come to Florida.
Well, no.
Yeah.
Florida's not my cup of tea, but maybe Nebraska. I don't know.
Well, what do you like? You like mountains?
I don't know.
Is that, what do you mean it's not your cup of tea, Florida? What is your cup of tea?
Oh, Florida's too glitzy for me. It's too much like L.A.
No.
I mean Mount Shasta.
You think about Miami.
What?
You can live in the countryside or in the suburbs. I live on 7 acres myself, about 40 minutes north of Tampa. I don't live in a big city, okay? That behind me is a phony fake screen. It's not really. I don't live in front of the water, okay? So, yeah, just listen, when you call tomorrow, mention that also will help you. You sold the house. You can buy yourself a quiet place, peaceful in a countryside of Florida, and we'll help you with that also at no extra charge, okay?
Okay. All right. Very good.
All right. Okay.
I will call tomorrow. Thank you again.
You're welcome, Julie. Thank you for calling. It's a pleasure to meet you as well.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Okay, we have now 2 more callers waiting. One from area code 951, another one from area code 971. 951 area code caller, please give me your first name, how you heard about Freedom Law School, and then your question, please.
Hey, Peymon. My name is Jordan.
And how did you hear about Freedom Law School?
I've heard about you guys, I think, back in 2017 or 2018 from my late father.
Wow, okay. Wow, okay. What took you so long to call us?
Yeah, so back, I've been listening to you for a long time. I'm a big fan. So back in 2018, I think I stopped paying, I stopped filing. So it's been, I think, about 7 years roughly since I filed. I've gotten the regular, computer-generated letters asking me to file. The last letter that I have here in my hand that was just sent out last month to me was just another LT26 form, please file your missing returns. Mm-hmm. And then I recently sold a boat, mm-hmm. and I had a large wire transfer. It was about $14,000. And then the day after, if not maybe 2 days after, I had the criminal investigations department, special agents knocking on my mother's door, which is the last address that they have on file.
Okay, and?
So they left a business card, asked me to, please call them. So I'm just wondering, what's the best way? I signed up back in 2018, I think it was, with the beginner's freedom package, where you pretty much teach us how to do it ourselves. Mm-hmm. So I'm not a paying. I didn't upgrade ever. I had a really good grasp on everything. I felt your program and you taught it very well. So I'm just wondering, what's the best way to go forward on, should I even contact them? How do I respond?
Well, what makes you think they contacted your mom about you? Did they say, we're looking for your son Jordan? Tell me more about that. What makes you think so?
Yes, so my mom never talked to them, but they left a card, and then on the card it says, Jordan, please give me a call.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm sorry you didn't get with us upgrade to the Restore Freedom Plan or back that Simple or Royal Freedom Package. But you can still join now, so you can protect it from here forward. So that's the first thing I recommend you do, is join now for
Yeah, definitely not opposed to joining the plan now. I am not making the kind of money I was back. I don't know, probably the first few years when I didn't file, I was making close to 100,000 a year. But yeah, just right now going through some financial trouble. Struggling small business owner and whatnot, trying to switch industries. So I'm not making a ton of money right now, but I am interested in joining the plan. If you can help me, move forward with how to deal with these guys.
Well, as a member, then I can do one-on-one consultation for you about this issue you got. But let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk to these guys, Jordan?
Do I want to? No, I don't want to.
Then don't talk to
them.
them.
I'm not going to either.
That's it. So my first free advice for you is just you don't have to talk to them. You're under no legal obligation to call them back. Okay? So
right.
When
That's
you join,
what I figured.
send that to us.
thought.
Also, write about the situation in a separate note. We add to your file, and as it develops, then we can watch what's going on, and maybe make recommendations. But did you ever send the petitions to your congressman?
Yes, I did.
When?
And I have the certified copies that you guys provided back to me.
Great.
I'm looking at them right now. I was just kind of
when
going
you
over
send them
everything.
out to them? When?
When?
Yes.
So these were dated back. These are all dated in 2019. We did everything. May 23rd is the date on the letters to Senator Kamala Harris. Who else was it?
Okay.
It was Dianne Feinstein and Glenn Colbert.
Okay,
so yeah,
good.
I did send all those letters.
Good.
And then I have the copies of, Joe's book. Big fan of Joe, obviously, too, as well.
Okay. All right. So, for right now, I will not talk to them because you don't have to. There's no law requiring you to talk to them. Okay? Join Restore Freedom Plan.
Right.
And then summertime when I'm not so quite busy, okay, maybe you can do it. And I have your paperwork and more fully your petitions. Because back then, 2019, we did some letters about Joe Banister to the IRS, to Congress members. You got the old
yes.
Yeah, those are different. Yeah, those are very good still. They still work. What you
those
got.
are different. Okay.
Yeah, but
that
now
was going to be a question I was going to ask. Yeah, if you guys have kind of pivoted on your some of your tactics or whatnot that I'm not maybe up to date on.
Well, back then, that was the best thing we had to confront the government about the Joe Banister story. Why don't they show their own gun-carrying agent the law he's enforcing with a gun in hand? Okay? So that's what we did. You have those, and that's good. That works, okay? So you want to do new petitions also as a new member, but that will help you. I'm glad you did that. That makes a big difference for you, my friends. The difference is because you didn't stay with us as a member, now any legal cost will be extra charge. Okay, whether you pay me or an attorney is an extra charge. If you were a member, then there would be no extra charge about any of these things at all. Myself, attorneys will be there for you, paid for. All you have to do was to maintain your membership. But still, I can help you, but I need to...
It's a yearly cost, right? Yearly cost.
Your membership is dependent on how little you owe the IRS, which is based upon how much you make, basically. So the minimum membership is $2,000 a year.
Right.
Okay? So call our office. They'll help you out. Tell them you call the Freedom Hour. Anybody you call tomorrow, we'll help you with the membership, everything easily, Jordan. Yes.
So just a quick question, too, just to kind of set my mind at ease. And I know, Joe, maybe you guys have talked about this before, but are these guys do you think it was like a routine door knock because of the large wire transfer? Because I know, if there's wire transfers over 10 grand, it does send out notifications to certain agencies like the FBI, the IRS, and whatnot. Or do you think this is because of me not filing?
The 14,000 wire transfer is not large. Okay, they're not after you because you got paid with $14,000.
Well, I mean,
wire
if you
transfer.
Google it, it says it's pretty widely known that any wire transfers over 10 grand, that the bank is required to notify, certain agencies.
Yes, they
like,
report
do you
that.
think they're actually investigating? They actually
No, it's not because of that. Because there is, millions and millions of those reports go out, by banks and third parties to the IRS.
Yeah.
It's not because of that. Okay, I don't know what it is, but one
just because of my
40,000 transaction is not a big deal at all. Okay, but wire transfers are not reported. It's cash over 10,000 in or out of bank account. Those are reported, not wire transfers. So it's not the reason why they're coming after you. I don't know why at this point, but it's not because of that. Okay?
Yeah. Oh, that's okay. Because I thought that was for sure why. That kind of makes me more worried now. But so I shouldn't be like looking over my shoulder or anything, right? Like,
No.
You got some secret
You got a
agents
great,
coming-
strong
coming
defense
after
because you've done
me.
the petitions. So I could defend you. Attorneys I get can defend you. It's just that it's going to be extra charge. Okay, you have to pay for attorneys or myself help you out. As a member, that would have been no charge for you as a Restore Freedom Plan member. But join that now.
Okay,
from
so I'm going to spend like
540 to be covered, and that a pre-existing problem we'll see as it develops. Maybe it won't be that much. Maybe they'll leave you alone. Maybe they want to ask you about somebody else. We don't know that. They're asking for you, maybe not about you.
Yeah,
but they're asking about somebody else, perhaps. We don't know that either.
I was thinking that. They could be.
Yeah.
Because the guy who bought my boat, like, he didn't ask any questions. He didn't try to haggle me. He paid my offer. Like, he paid my asking price. He had his brother come drive down and, like, get the boat. And, like, it was kind of, it seemed too good to be true, kind of. So maybe they're being looked at, and that now that I'm associated with his bank account, they came and knocked on my door.
That's a much more likely answer. Yes, that's, in my opinion, from what you told me so far,
I was thinking
that's
about
most
that.
likely the case, it seems like. Yes. All right, Jordan.
Yeah.
Any other
that makes a
questions,
lot of
brother?
sense. Okay, I'm gonna join the plan. So I'll do what I got to do. I don't know how it's. I have to fill out a form first, right, and get my, because I'm just I'm barely making any money right now, man. Maybe. I mean, this year I don't even know, because I'm a home inspector. I've for the last 5 years, I don't know, I've been pulling maybe 60, 70 grand, but I was working as a subcontractor for another larger firm. Now I'm totally on my own, so I'm just barely making it by.
Right.
So I don't know how we're going to calculate my my income for this year.
It's 2025 you want to protect, okay? And go to our website, freedomlawschool.org.
2025?
On the top center, there's a sign up. Very top center. Click on sign up at freedomlawschool.org.
And base everything off 2025.
Yes, 25 you want to cover, not 26. 25 right now. You got to protect yourself from 25.
Okay.
Okay? Call our
Sounds
office,
good.
and anybody can help you. 813-444-4800.
Yeah, I got the number right here. All right, I'm going to sign up, Peymon. It was nice talking to you, man.
You're welcome.
Big fan again.
You're welcome, my friend. Thanks for calling.
And I think I'm going to be moving to Florida. I'm probably going to be moving to Florida here soon.
Yay.
Hopefully.
Good for you.
I got to get out of this state too, man.
Yep. I know. You live in, San Bernardino County or Riverside County out there, right?
Yeah, I was born in Riverside, and I've been around here, Temecula area, the suburbs, for my whole life.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Good for you, my friend. Leave the economy state behind. There are greener pastures out there and free places like Florida. Okay, thank you for calling, Jordan. We got 2 more callers waiting to get the questions answered. One from area code 971, followed by a call from area code 484. So 971 area code caller, please give me your first name, how you heard about Freedom Law School, and then your question, please. 971, followed by a call from area code 484. Are you there? Area code 971, area code call Healy. Are you there?
No, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes. Go ahead. What's your name?
Aaron?
Eric, turn your computer down, okay, so it doesn't echo here, because I hear myself. Okay.
All right. Is that better?
Yeah, it's better. Yeah, turn that down. Keep me some oranges, guys.
Good.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Eric with a C or CK? Or K? How do you spell your name, my friend?
Avery.
Avery. I heard you wrong. Sorry, Avery. How did you hear about Freedom Law School, Avery?
Oh, I've known about you for quite a few years. I haven't paid taxes like over 10 years. And just want to say thank you for all your hard work. You're amazing. I really appreciate everything you're doing right now for the movement. Peymon, I got about 150 of your Fast Track Success brochures that I'm going to be handing out at a huge networking event coming up this weekend. Mm-hmm. We're going to have like 70 different business owners coming, everything you can possibly imagine. They got employees, everything, okay? Mm-hmm. And we're going to have probably about 50, 60 real estate agents as well. And we're going to have a catered event. We're all going to meet up to get together so they can meet the agents. Yeah, exactly what I got right there. You know it. Mm-hmm. So what I wanted to ask you, mm-hmm. Now, they're going to have, we're catering this thing with food and drinks. Everyone's going to have a great time. I'm probably going to, at the end of the event, I'm going to hand these out to all the business owners. Mm-hmm. And they already trust me. So they've given their credit card number over the phone, because I sell them advertising. And builds a lot of rapport with them. So, we got good relationships going on. When I hand this to them, what would you say would be the best way to hand this to them and to get them to make it happen for themselves, so to speak?
Well,
what would you say to them?
I tell you what, there is no one-size-fits-all answer necessarily, because a lot of it depends on them. Know this, that their attitude, their mindset is number one, no matter what you say. I've had people that I've talked to myself, and right off the bat, you can see the person's eyes rolling away like, oh gosh, I'm so uncomfortable, I want to get out of here. This guy's going to get me in trouble, I better not listen to this guy anymore. You're going to have some of that. Okay? Then you get some people who are interested. They actually do want to listen to you some more. So pay attention to that. Okay? But really, the brochure just says it all right there. Okay? Let me show it to you. All you got to do is say, here's a fast track your success. In this brochure and 12 pages, it shows you how to lawfully and safely pay no income or payroll or self-employment taxes, and with 100% guarantee if you choose. Why? On the back. Because no law requires 99% of Americans to file and pay income and payroll taxes. $50,000 will be paid to you or your accountant if you want, or lawyer. If you can show anything in this 12-page brochure that's wrong, it proves it to you right to the law. Okay? So that's the first thing you want to do, and see if you can get their interests. Now, the ideal thing is if you can tell them a little bit more about all this. I would take a picture of yourself with these guys, get their phone number, text them right away who they are, okay, so you remember them and they remember you, so that you can follow up with them. because that's the key, the follow-up. Okay, you can hand all these out to a bunch of people. People just maybe just throw it away. They will not even look at it. Okay, the key is that relationship you build, and then follow up with them, because you cannot get to 150 people by yourself in a weekend. You can have maybe 5 really good conversations. Now, what you can do, what you probably do want to do, is, I imagine you want to talk to more higher income people. Okay? So focus on those, because the membership will be larger, and so will the referral reward you receive will be larger. So generally speaking, older people have more years of experience in life, in business, and success. They make more money than the younger one. So if you see a 56-year-old guy, I would talk to him on the average before I talk to a 20, 30-year-old guy. Okay, that's just the way it is. On the average also, men tend to make more than women. Primarily because, women, they're the ones got to give birth and nurse a baby. That takes them out of work environments. Okay, so they cannot build that experience and knowledge like a man who has no child rearing responsibilities. He has more time to build his experience and knowledge. So the guy probably on the average makes more money than the woman. These are just averages. There's of course exceptions to every one of these rules. Okay, so you could talk to people and find out a way what they do, how long they've been doing it for. And that'll give you a little bit of idea about, hey, this guy just barely struggling to make a living, like our last caller, or a guy that makes maybe $1 million a year, successful real estate agent or better. That gives you a clue about how much you want to spend with this guy versus the bigger fish that, in this 150 people you want to talk to. Those are some of the basic tips I have for you.
Advertising in a real estate magazine, and I let them know that I'm going to have a special surprise for them at the end of the event. So it's going to put a smile on their face a mile wide. So I kind of primed them up already.
Do you get to speak at the event, or it's going to be one-on-one meeting with these people?
Yeah, well, we're going to go up there and make an announcement to introduce everybody and give them a chance to get up and talk in front of the crowd and let them know, let the people know what type of service they offer and whatnot, what type of business they are, what they specialize in, all that good stuff.
So you'll get to talk for just a few minutes, introduce yourself on what do you do type of thing. Is that correct? Like a networking thing?
Yes, it's a huge networking event. We're going to have it at this huge, big brewery in Bend, Oregon. And we got a whole bunch of people coming.
Okay.
A whole bunch, probably over 100. And food, drinks, and they get to meet with all the realtors, all these business owners, so they could start getting referrals from them.
Okay.
So we're bringing a huge crowd together, like a power group. They can start helping each other out. And I want to be the one to come down and give them the get out of tax-free jail cards. You know what I mean?
Yep. So what you want to do is this.
That makes sense.
If you get only 3 minutes to talk to them, 3 minutes, you tell them what I set up there, okay? Mm-hmm. And then you spend on that.
Exactly.
And then go inside and say, look, this is Peymon, the president of Freedom Law School, the guy behind us. For over 30 years, he has openly not filed and paid any federal income taxes. IRS knows him, had him on their criminal and other investigations for over 30 years. They can still not put him in prison because there's no law requiring you or him to file an income tax. And he says they should, if you have time, then show a little bit about that 1040 form, the cartoon. Do not sign that 1040 form. Do not put the rope around your neck. Okay? No matter what you do,
exactly.
Don't do that. Just show them, look at this thing. Bring attention to that. That's the worst you can do under penalty of perjury. You have the rope around your neck to go to prison for up to 9 years for that one signature. When you go later on, look at this or ask me more. So that's it. In 3 minutes, that's all you have to get their attention. Then when they see that, they can open it, they see it front and the back. They go to the very back page, look at me, my picture, and the 1040 form. They say, oh man, I didn't know that I sign under penalty of perjury, that I tell them how much I owe, you know. The ones that are open-minded and interested and say, I've heard about that. I was curious about that. My neighbor or my brother-in-law told me about this thing, whatever, right? Oh, I saw Peymon on Rumble or YouTube. You're going to come across some of those perhaps, right? So, well, yeah, there you go. Well, you already know. Well, let's do it. So make that 3-minute count like that. And, of course, what you want, Avery, on the back of the brochure, remember at the bottom of the back, put your name and telephone number. So when they join, we ask them, how did you hear about us? Okay. The guys that talk to you, be sure, like I said, take a selfie with them, okay? Text it to them, because these guys, they want a network. They'll do that no problem. That's whether it's a network. They hate network. The network, your selfie, I sent you, I give you my name and phone number, what I do, and you text them, you are a real estate agent in, let's say, Portland, Oregon, and been with the XYZ Realty, you know, for 5 years, okay? So you send a little bit of a thing about them and you, so when you later on follow up with them, when they go home a few days later or a week later, they remember you and because that picture, a selfie. And you remember who they are because you got a little quick description about them that reminds you who he is and what you guys talked about. Okay? That's what I recommend you do.
Wow, I'm excited.
Very good. Do it, Avery. Good job, my friend. You're in the right place. Yeah, these networking places.
So much fun.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Hey, what'd you say?
What were you saying? Go ahead.
Oh, I said this. I'm so excited. I'm just so happy. This is going to be so great, and I've been waiting for this for a while now. So I got all these people together. It's going to be like a kid in the candy store, man. We're going to save a lot of people. Get them. They're all slaves. They're going to be so happy. They are going to be so happy. I guarantee it.
Yeah,
I'm
glad you mentioned that.
I'm already happy.
I should be telling people, guys, to go join these networking clubs and go attend them and pass out our brochures. That's a great idea you do it, Avery. I've been to networking clubs before myself. That's a great place to go network. Remember that, guys. We're going to go and somehow get people to do more of that and look around. All right, my friend. Any other questions before I go to the next caller?
No, that's it. Thank you so much. You have a good day.
You're welcome, man. Give us the call back afterwards, okay? And tell us how it went. We'll be happy to help you.
Oh, I will, man. I will.
All right, my friend.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Okay, 484, you could caller. Give us your first name, how you heard about Freedom Law School, and then your question, please. Are you there? Area code 484 caller. One more time, area code 484 caller. Are you there? You're live with Freedom Law School. Okay, looks like he is not there. So before we go to questions online, or someone send a question to me on paper, I'm going to take this person's question. If you have a question you want to ask right now, the telephone line is open. You can get your question answered now. Call area code 424-552-1299 and then press 1 on your telephone keypad. Again, the number to dial is 424-552-1299 and press 1 on your telephone keypad to get the question answered. Right now, I'm going to go to this few pieces of paper to answer the question from D. And maybe you can send up to 10 pages, and I will, by email, fax, or US mail, I'll go over them here for free for you at every Freedom Hour every Tuesday night. So D got a letter, September 3rd, 2025. It's actually for Sammy. It's for Sammy in Idaho. From Carpenter Services Administrative Corporation. Okay. The trustees of the Western States Carpenters Pension Trust requires that the retirees provide an annual certification and verification that they remain retired as defined by a non-engaged post-retirement employment. Okay, To comply, complete and return an enclosed form with a copy of your 2024 income tax return and W-2 forms by October 2025. Okay, you must provide a copy of 2 pages of your. Okay, well, tell them the truth. Tell them I don't have one. So write to them, say I don't have one. Okay. Now, if you don't have another job, as they say, tell them I don't have another job. Just tell them that. And you can make it a statement under oath. I'll declare the penalty of perjury, you have no other job. Because what they're trying to do is determine and make sure every day you are actually retired, you're not working. If you are working, I imagine, I'm guessing, from what I can see, that they want to pay you less, perhaps. That's what it sounds like. That's because they want to make sure you remain retired. Why? That's my guess. Okay? So, they don't want you to engage in any post-retirement employment classified as prohibited by the applicable plans. Well, find out what those are. What are the prohibited, jobs or employment is? You say, I don't do those things. I don't dig ditches. I don't sell dolls. Okay, whatever they don't want you to do. So that's what you got to do on that. Okay, D? That's what that is. And then February 2026, you got a letter. Let's see, this one doesn't have any name on it. Notice the federal income tax withholding to recipients of pension or long-term disability benefits. You may notice a change in your monthly benefit if you had elected to have taxes withheld from your monthly benefit based on the federal income tax withholding tables provided by IRS. Okay. If you do not wish to make changes to your current elections, no action is required. However, if you wish to make a change to your tax withholding, you must provide a signed and completed Form W-4P, withholding certificate for pension or annuity payments. Okay. They tell you where to get on their website. Okay. So, W-4P form that you have here, send a copy to me. Where it's easy. You can fill it out. At the bottom of it, there's a box that says no withholding. You can check that box. Fill it out, sign. You choose not to have withholding. Just do that on there. That's your choice. And sign it and give it to them. It says, I request that no withholding be withheld from my payments. That's it. Very simple, easy. Guys, you got to slow down, read English. This Iranian guy who English is his second language can do reading for you guys. Read. Y'all went to high school. 12 years of reading and writing. Take the time and read a little bit. You find the answers are right there, okay? Okay? And the instructions telling you that right there. You can choose not to have federal income tax withheld from your payments by checking the box in the no withholding section. Okay? Very simple. Nothing complicated. All right, so that's the question that Dia asked about, okay, for her husband. Okay, they're very simple. Not a problem. Just follow the instructions on the form that they send you. All right, and we have some questions online. Let's see, which one do we have here? Which one you guys want to see? FLS has experience defeating the NOD. FLS has experience defeating an NOD notice deficiency. Yes. That's it. Okay. Well, look, you want to see many of our victories, not all of them. There's more have not put on the website. Okay. All you got to do is to go to our website. Okay. freedomlawschool.org. Okay. When you go to 7 steps, okay, the gold bar you see on the center page, click on that. When you go down to step 5, okay, click on the left side on 5, step 5. That takes you to our victories. Go scroll down to step 5. Step 5. You go in there. Take courage from our victories. And you continue to step 5. You go in there. And you'll see our victories. Okay, on the right side is our student victories. Click on that. Freedom Law School student victories. And you see various victories over the IRS that we've had. Link is not working or slow. What's going on with this one? Gotta check on this thing. So link is... a little slow, I guess. Yeah. Now that's my victories on the right side. Let me have it. Yes. Student victories can go down. There's a little habit there also. I forgot. Okay. Yeah, you can scroll down. See many of our victories. So there you go. Plenty more. Victory 1, 2, 3, 4, and on. All right, any other questions from the audience? Nope. Let's see, no more questions online. Okay, and then we have nobody with on the phone. I'll give you the number one more time if you have a question. The number to call is 424-552-1299 and press 1. 424-552-1299 and press 1. And I'll get your question right now. Other than that, brothers and sisters, it was no accident you called in. You listened to Freedom Law School because you were looking for freedom. Looking to be free. Keep your money that you work hard for. You need it. Why let the criminals and thieves, the Epstein class, have your money that you work hard for? These pedophile billionaires, they're politicians, they're media figures, corrupt ones. Why? Why do you want to give it to them when it's your hard-earned money? Why do you want to pay for this war with Iran that could lead up to World War III? Why would you have our soldiers go out there and get killed? Right? Why pay for murder of innocent people in Iran and Israel? Or how about Ukraine? People have been killed, Russians and Ukrainians. Why? It doesn't have to be that way. You do have a voice. Voting is not working. Biden was a communist. And Trump is a war-hungry tool of Israel. Not America first, Israel first for him. He'd rather focus on America. He's focusing on a country of less than 10 million people. I'm Jewish born myself. And I'm against all this stuff going on out there, because America is first. I'm here as an American, speaking to you as an American. The greatest country on earth is right here in America. I stayed here because what am I going to do? Go back there. I put my stake here, do my best I can to return America to its roots of freedom and greatness that made America great. If we do that, America will have a great revival. But for that to happen, each of us, you need to take action. Educate yourself on our website, freedomlawschool.org. Empower yourself by going to our website, freedomlawschool.org, and take the 7 steps to free yourself of IRS deception, robbery, and slavery. Okay? Once you educate yourself about all this, then you'll be free on your own for free, or as a Restore Freedom Plan member with a guarantee. The choice is yours. So I give you all my love, and I wish you all the best, happy, successful life for you and your family with love. And I'll be back with you guys next Tuesday night.